Asa, you're muted. I don't know, you're the host.
Now?
Yes, you're
It's
good.
gonna echo. It's not echoing?
Well, you may have to mute your Zoom,
Yeah, that's not.
but if you mute your Zoom, you have to speak in the mic. So if you're not speaking in the mic, you need to mute your Zoom. You need to open your Zoom, I mean, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Mindy. Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. Okay, good.
And Grant, your co-host, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's perfect. How about Paul? Do you want to do a mic check, Paul? Oh, hi, Paul. You're unable to unmute. I thought that was Asa. Okay, just like the last time. You are a co-host. I think if you can try to log out and log back in, we'll wait for you. Asa, you're going to have to make Paul a co-host. All right, Paul, let's see if you can unmute yourself now. Yeah, it's weird how you're able to share your screen, but you're not able to unmute yourself. There is another backup plan. There is a phone number in the Outlook invite. You can call in so that at least you can contribute via phone. Okay, can you try it now, Paul? I see that. I disabled all those.
Can you hear me now? Check.
Martin, I could hear you very slightly. You may need to speak a little
Check,
louder.
check.
Okay,
Can
that's
you hear
better.
me?
I can hear Asa, yes.
Okay, maybe try that one now.
Okay, Paul is having a hard time. He's not able to unmute himself.
Can he just call in?
Yeah, I can.
Let's do that.
Naomi, can you hear me? Check on this desk.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like Paul had that problem the last meeting that we had.
He did, and when he logged out and logged back in,
It's amazing how Zoom still manages to be frustrating after we've all been doing it for so long.
Yeah, and that's what he's saying. It's not, you're a co-host on our end, Paul, so I'm not quite sure.
Can we unmute him?
I can ask to unmute.
No wonder nobody's responding.
So what I'm going to do, Paul, I'm going to forward you in your email, the phone number in case you don't have the Zoom info available to you. And if you use a cell phone, you'll be able to just do a one tap.
So are we going into discussion or are we not? Discussion? Okay, thank you.
Asa, if you can make Paul a co-host again. Oh, here he is. Okay.
Time it worked. Amazing.
It works. Excellent. All right, we got it. We're at 6:07. Did Terry, Ryan, and Carmen, if you wanted to check your mics for us, to make sure we could hear you.
Hello? Yep.
All right, great.
Testing.
Wonderful. Okay. Asa, do you want to hit the record button? We could start.
Oh, chair. Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to go now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Good evening. I'm going to call the meeting for the Salary Commission to order, and I'm going to turn it over to the city manager.
Hey, said you want to take over the roll call?
Chair Ryan,
Here.
Vice Chair Humphrey,
Present.
Commissioner Wood, Commissioner Fisher,
Here,
Commissioner Heisa.
Here.
You have to make a motion to excuse, I believe, Commissioner Wood, right?
But he might come in, right?
No.
Oh, you don't think so? Okay, so I'll make a motion to excuse Commissioner Wood.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll just go ahead and I'll tee it off first. Just wanted to cover some little bit of history, kind of what's happened in the past few weeks, and then I'll also cover what our agenda is for today. And then I'll hand it over to our city attorney to provide some guidance on where we are right now, given that Chair Ryan has some information that he wants to provide. Our Commissioner Wood also sent me an email that all of you received, and he sent another email as well that I did not send to you, and we wanted to bring that in as part of the information as well, but it'll probably follow the same type of guidance as your information, Chair Ryan. So as you remember, on October 7th and the 10th, we held the first two meetings of 4. On October 10th, we did, the commission did vote 4-0 to approve the new salary schedule for the mayor pro tem and council members at 1,400, 1,200, and 1,000 respectively. The agenda for today is to a number of things. One, to approve the minutes from those first two meetings on October 7th and the 10th. The second is to determine an effective date for the salary commission to take effect. And the third is to approve that transmittal of the schedule to the city clerk pursuant to Mill Creek Municipal Code 2.09.050. Now I'm going to hand it over to our city attorney to provide guidance on how we move forward.
Okay, well, hold on
Yes.
just a sec, if I may. So we're talking about transmittal of salary schedule. We're talking about setting an effective date and approving minutes of the meeting, but I don't see anywhere on the agenda the discussion that we're going to have. So when shouldn't the discussion precede voting on transmittals?
I'll leave it up to our city attorney to provide guidance on how we can proceed with opening that back up
Okay,
at this point, and then we can move forward with that.
okay.
Thank you,
great.
Chair Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, City Manager. I don't have a lot to add here. There's just a couple of procedural things here. My understanding is that the commission took a vote last week, and as I understand it, that the chair has got some additional information that he wanted to share with the commission. Certainly free to do that. The question is how to approach the fact that the commission's taken a vote. There's a couple of ways procedurally that can be done. One is that the vote doesn't address one key requirement of the ordinance, which is to set an effective date. And I think there was a lot of operation of assumptions that the logical effective date would be January 1, 2023, because once the schedule is submitted to the city clerk, then there's 30 days for any citizens to petition to have a vote on the decision of the commission. The other, and then with respect to the actual substance of the motion that was passed, there are two ways to address that. One is a motion for reconsideration. Under Robert's rules, a motion for reconsideration needs to be brought by a member of the board of the commission who voted with the majority. It can be seconded by anybody on the commission, and then that could reopen the discussion. The other is a motion to amend the schedule, and that certainly would make sense to amend the schedule, certainly to include an effective date. And if there's agreement of the commission to make amendments to the amounts, again, one way is reconsideration, one way is a motion to amend. So with that, I turn it over to the chair.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody being here. And I'm sorry Mr. Wood couldn't be here, but so the irony of me missing the last meeting was that I was at the first meeting and two of the commission members weren't able to be there. And so, and then the other two, one was going out of town on a Thursday, I believe, and Mr. Wood, I believe, was going to go out of town on a Tuesday. So I said, well, why don't we just meet on Monday? And so we agreed to do that so that all 5 people could be here. We all get the same information at the same time. And then we make a decision on that, or we have a that night, or have a third meeting if we wanted to. So unfortunately, I had a family thing come up and I had to drop everything and go to that. There was no way for me to contact the city because the city had been sending the emails to my work email address. My work email address does not go into my personal cell phone. So I didn't have an email address or a phone contact or a phone number to call and say, I can't be at the meeting. So, so all I'm asking for is the opportunity to have just an open, honest conversation. And so I'm looking for a motion to reconsider, and which is all it means is we're going to open it back up so we share information, and ideally we all come to a conclusion. And then, and the other thing is, being the chair, I'd really like the opportunity to vote on it. So I'm just asking for the same courtesy that I extended to everybody else by moving the meeting, scheduling the Monday meeting so we could all be here. And of all ironies, I couldn't make it because of a family matter. And I'm asking for the same courtesy from the other commissioners.
If I may speak, the 2 nights that I specifically said I was not going to be available are Mondays and Fridays, and those meetings have been scheduled on both of those days. So I'm taking myself out of some personal time to be a part of this today. So I'm extending that courtesy to you.
Thank you, sir. And I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was told that you couldn't be here on Friday, and I didn't schedule the Friday meeting. So my apologies, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah,
Really?
and we're in New York at a family function. Everyone's in the other room. So hopefully we can wrap this up relatively quickly.
Well, that's my hope. But I'd just like to have an honest conversation with all of us here. And to do that, according to city manager, the attorney, actually it was the attorney, we'd have to have a motion to reconsider. It's not that you have to change your vote. It's a motion so that we can have an honest discussion here. And I'm just asking for that courtesy.
Well, let me ask, maybe Grant would know this. Is it possible for Commissioner Ryan to share the information he wants to share without us putting the motion to reconsider on the floor? And I mean, we're definitely, it seems to me we're definitely at least going to make a motion to, amend to add the date, probably. but,
Correct. Right.
So certainly, Chair Ryan could ask unanimous consent that the agenda be amended to include an opportunity to have a discussion on what he wants to present. And those of you
Well-
here can do that.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't have any visuals or anything. It's just an honest conversation. I guess I'm a little, all I'm asking for is the same courtesy that I gave to everybody else. And I just don't know why anybody would not grant that. I'm puzzled by that. And I'm not saying you're not granting it, but I think that nobody's offered a motion, and I'm just asking for courtesy.
Yeah, I would move to add the time to the agenda to hear out Commissioner Ryan and hear what he's got to say. Can we do that?
I'd second that.
Okay. So we have a motion, and all it is we're gonna start with the discussion, and then we can probably get through this pretty darn quick. Believe me, I didn't
Good.
bring an encyclopedia with me, and I don't intend to take a lot of time. I just want to point a couple of things out. And
Sure.
Did everybody?
no, we haven't taken the vote yet. So we have to vote on it, right? So we have a motion to open up the discussion. And we have a second by Mindy. I'm sorry, I don't have my reading glasses. Is your last name Humphrey?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that right. Shocking. I'm not very good with names. So by Commissioner Humphrey and a second by Commissioner Fisher. So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Nays?
Nay.
Okay. It was a simple majority, so that passes. Thank you very much for the courtesy. So anyway, when in the first meeting, and I know Commissioner Fisher said that she had watched the video and whatnot, and perhaps you did too, sir, I'm not sure. It's Paul, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So anyway, in that meeting, Cabot Dow did some research as to what comps would be and whatnot. We went through those, and he had actually put a little X by all the ones that he recommended, which was Covington, well, all the cities, including Mill Creek, Covington, Mill Creek, Mount Lake Terrace, Kenmore, Maple Valley, Newcastle, Woodinville. He felt those were the most accurate comps. So currently the mayor here is at $700 a month, council member is $500 a month. And I know it's been that way for years. And everybody who runs for council, they know that's what the pay is. Nobody runs for council hoping that number was going to change, or thinking that it would definitely change. But nonetheless, I do agree some increase is reasonable. So just taking the average of the comps that Cabot gave, the mayor's salary would move to $855. The council salary would move to $733. And that's using Cabot Dow's own numbers. And I can go through them if you want, but I don't think we need to do that necessarily. So if the salary goes for the mayor, it goes from $700 to $1,400, that's a 100% increase. And I understand that $700 has been stagnant since inception, probably. And same thing with the council members, but a 100% increase, I don't think is, I just don't think that's fiscally prudent. And so I know my brother is on the Mount Lake Terrace City Council, and I think Mount Lake Terrace, frankly, is the best comp for us. And according to Cabot Dow, that number is $1,000 for the mayor and $936 for the council. Although I was told the mayor's salary is actually $1,100. Cabot Dow said 1,000, and Cabot's never been wrong, but I don't know if that's a typo or not. But I know that, when I was on the council, which was quite a while ago, we would have been tickled pink to have the same salary as Mount Lake Terrace. We never pushed it, but we all said, hey, if it ever went up, Mount Lake Terrace would be a good comp. So thinking that a 100% increase is too much, I would just propose that we look at those two numbers. And frankly, I think the 936 is a little bit high, but I guess what I'm getting at is that an increase, I think, would be good. I think it'd be fair, but doubling the pay, I think, is higher than is necessary, especially when people know what this. I'm sorry. So Mr. Wood, he said, well, we need to give more so we get the best and brightest. So the question I guess I would ask the commissioners is, I've always viewed this as kind of a public service and an honorarium. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm trying to look at all of you. You're up on the screen here. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Okay. So that's why I'm
Okay.
looking back and forth. But I've always viewed this as it's public service. It's not really about the money. It isn't. And I'm proof of that because I accepted that for 17 years at the same pay every month. So I walk the talk. Okay. So, but I guess Mr. Wood, he said, well, we have to give more money because we got to get the best and brightest. So I think we have a good representation of the community on the council. If you're talking about trying to attract an attorney from Perkins, or an investment banker from JP Morgan, or an accountant, frankly, I tried to attract people for 17 years, and those very people. And I said, it would be great to have a broader spectrum here. And they said, Terry, that doesn't even approach my billable hours. So even if we put the number up by doubling the mayor's salary, which is doubling it, it's a 100% increase, we're not going to attract people in those professions.
And I believe Mr. Wood would agree with you 100%, which is why he was pushing for a much higher salary even. He gave a great concession by agreeing with us on the 1,000 and the 1,400 and the 1,200. So I think he would agree with that. I think we did the increase based on what the inflation rates have been since 1990, and then just decided that obviously these people are not supporting their families on this, but a token or an honorarium in 1990 is different than that same token or honorarium in 2022. So I think people just feel, I think we all felt that this was a reasonable monthly stipend, and it's been a long time since it was addressed. And, you know, obviously people are doing it to serve their community. Obviously, that's, you know, but, and I think it reflects the feeling of the council and the current mayor that they put this commission together.
Yeah.
So,
So I do know that there, and I did see the emails regarding inflation and whatnot, but you know, when I was here for 17 years, when we looked at like the city manager's pay or the finance department's pay or the finance director's pay or the community development director's pay or public works or the employees or for the policeman's guild, it was always based on comps. There was no inflation factor. It wasn't inflation. So I'm just, and I'm not trying to disagree. I'm just trying to tell you, we always worked off comps.
well, and I think there are comps that support this rate of pay. We're just towards the top instead of being at the bottom.
Well, not really, because the comps that Cabot gave us, the highest one was Kenmore, which is in King County. That was 1,200 for the mayor. And I'll just run through these. Mill Creek, obviously 700, Malik Terrace is 1,100, Kenmore 1,200, Maple Valley 930, Newcastle 600, and Woodinville 700. So it's over the top. So I'm
There's
just
also
saying,
some others that are listed that don't have the yellow check mark next to them. City of Longview, 1,500. City of Kirkland, 1,500. City of Spokane Valley, 1,775. So it's an argument both ways, Ryan.
well, actually, I'd say it's a little bit of a hollow argument, because when I asked Cabot Dow specifically, which ones do you think, and he's an expert at this, which ones do you think are the best comps? And that's when he put the checks by those boxes. And so I'm going by what Cabot Dow said. It's okay to have a plethora of examples, but the expert said, these are the best comps. And if you took the average of those, again, the mayor pay be 855, council be 738. And I'm not even necessarily proposing that. I'm just proposing that we just do what Malik Terrace did, because that's really the best comp for us. And now, if you don't want to do that, I'd like the opportunity to vote on that. That's all I'm asking for. So, and if the three of you don't want to change your mind, you don't have to change your mind. I'd like the opportunity to vote as a commission member.
I hear you, and I'm happy that we're doing you the courtesy of hearing you out, because I think that that's important. You have an important voice. But for me, because of my confidence in the process and the 4-0 votes that we had before, and because we established that what we cared about was the inflation rate, and also we wanted to be above the average for the city, I don't feel ethically moved to make a motion to reconsider that, just respectfully, just so you can get your vote on the table. So I won't be making that motion, but when we're obviously we'll get to the amendment.
Mhm. Okay. So let's hear from the other two.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also feel like we really had a good conversation, and I feel like we heard in our first meeting, generally where you stood, and we did take that into account, and that was an important part of the conversation. But it all came across very easily, and it was a clean vote. So I did feel really good about that when we left.
So let me go back to the city attorney then. So if this goes through, and I think we can all count to 3 here, okay? If this goes through, is there, if future council members want to revisit this and introduce another ordinance that either repeals this ordinance or chooses different numbers to go by, is there anything that would preclude a future council and other council members from making that decision?
So the way the ordinance works, by establishing the salary commission, once you submit your schedule and effective date to the city clerk, those the work of this commission is done. Then it would require a new ordinance on the part of or new resolution on the part of the city council to convene the salary commission again for another review of salaries. And of course, Commissioner Ryan, it could be the same members, it could be different members. It's totally up to the city council. In terms of what they could do, they could reduce the salaries, they could increase the salaries in a future commission. But the purpose of having this salary commission is so that the council isn't taking a vote on their own salaries. That's why it was established.
Yeah, I felt that was self-evident. Yeah. So but I just want to be clear
Mhm.
that if the council in the future wanted to pass a new ordinance, they could set their own salaries, or number one, or number two, they could set up a new salary commission with whatever members they choose and go about it that way, correct?
Well, since they've established the salary commission, they would have to repeal the salary commission, which the council would have the power to do so. Then they would still be under state law. The council could vote on the salaries for the mayor and mayor pro tem and council members should it choose to do so. However, let me just clarify that if they do that, none of those salaries would go into effect until each of the members stands for election.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Chair Ryan, I don't know if this will help address the thing that you're kind of getting to, but we tacked onto our motion just a recommendation, which doesn't have obviously the force of law, that these salaries be revisited at least every 4 years, because we don't want it to get out of control, like it has before, where we're jumping at 100% after 30 years. And I think that that's part of the reason why we have the confidence in feeling like if we made a mistake, that's going to become evident and it can be changed in the future.
Okay. And thank you very much, Commissioner Fisher, for that clarification. So, but again, I'm going back to the city attorney because you opened the meeting. At any point in the future, a city council could put in an ordinance to repeal this and revisit the whole thing, correct?
The council could repeal the ordinance establishing the salary commission. And then it would be left, the only thing it could do to change its salaries would be to apply the state law, which permits the council to adjust to vote changes in their salaries. Again, they wouldn't become effective until each council member stands for election.
Okay, so they'd actually have to accept the higher, I'm just doing a hypothetical here. Let's just say a year from now, because there's going to be council elections, that a slate of people come forward, they run for city council, they come in and say, you know what, we appreciate everybody's work, but we think it's a little too generous and we want to reduce it. And they repeal that. Would they have to accept the higher salary until the next time they were up for election? Is that what you're saying?
Not quite sure I follow your hypothetical. They could repeal the ordinance establishing the salary commission and do nothing, and the salaries would remain the same as they are until they took some form of action, whether it's adopting an ordinance changing the salaries of the council members, which they could do. They would not, and they could increase it or they could decrease it. I mean, certainly they can do that according to state law, but none of the changes would apply until they stood for election.
Okay, so, yeah, and that was my question. So even if they wanted to reduce it, they could, but it wouldn't be reduced until they stand for election the second time, correct?
I don't think so. That's an unusual, yeah, I haven't looked at that issue because didn't expect that one to come up, but certainly you can't increase your pay under that approach, under that statute, without standing for election. The only way to have for a sitting council members to have a pay raise during the time that they're serving is through the use of an independent salary commission, and that they're not voting on it. And that's
No,
why you all are
Yeah,
here.
not, sorry, I understand that, but the question is, what if they wanted to reverse it and reduce the pay? Would that have to wait until they stand for election 4 years later?
I don't know the answer to that. I can look it up and see.
No. No, hey, you know what? Actually, the city's paying you good money, so we don't need that. You look that up. I think I already know the answer to it. I've done a little homework myself.
Yeah,
So,
and I
anyway.
think the other thing is though, if they were trying to reduce it for all of the members of the council before they stood for election, then if you are on the, if it was a 4-3 vote, what you'd be saying is that the majority would be reducing the salaries for all council members prior to them standing for election. I don't think that the statute works that way, but
That's
I'm
okay.
happy to look it up.
And by the
answer
way,
your question.
that would, a future council can look into it. I was just more curious. So anyway, given that, I'm just want to go on the record. There's no way I could vote for a 100% pay increase, which is what this is. And I just can't do that. And I'm not criticizing anybody else. I'm just saying, me personally, I'm pretty fiscally conservative. Got a 26-year record of proving it. And it's just, I think the council, the stipend should go up a little, but not to this degree. And I know that previous councils would have been tickled pink to just be where Mount Lake Terrace is at. And this goes even above that by like 30%.
I'd like to move that we amend the previous motion to add an effective date of January 1st, 2023.
Second,
Second,
Okay.
I'm sorry, was that January 21st, 2023?
January 1st, 2023.
Oh, thank you.
Well, on the study session it says transmittal. Martin, do we have to handle that one first?
No, this is, I had some prior guidance earlier today and the city attorney mentioned that this is a little out of order. So we can, since now that the effective date has been set, I guess seek grants guidance on, maybe we can improve the minutes next. Is that correct?
It seems procedurally it would make sense to approve the minutes, but then I would, because the pending motion relates to an item that needs to be in the transmittal, it would make sense to vote on that so that it could be included in the transmittal.
Thank you.
Okay, so in reverse order. So it's item C, then B, then A. Is that correct? Okay,
Yes.
so do you want to make a motion on C?
I move that we approve the minutes from the October 7th and October 10th salary commission meetings.
second,
second,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So I'm going to abstain on that because I wasn't at that. I wasn't at the last meeting. Okay, so
Are you approving the statute set?
I thought you were pulling
Yeah.
them together, right?
What I said was 7th and 10th.
Yeah,
if
so
that's all right.
and I'm just going to abstain. All right,
Sure,
so
sure, yeah.
all in favor of that?
Aye.
aye,
aye,
Okay, so it's a 3-0-1 vote. Commissioner Ryan is abstaining and the other three commissioners voted in the affirmative. Okay, then we go to set the effective date on the salary schedule. That's item B.
Let me restate my motion that I move that we amend our previous salary schedule that we passed to add an effective date of January 1st, 2023.
Second.
And Mr. City Attorney, can we just verify that that motion was presented properly? Or stated properly? I mean, I want to make sure, because
Sure.
I had a little hiccup in the, in my audio on that. I didn't quite hear it.
Okay.
Could it be restated?
Third time's the charm. I move that we amend our previously adopted salary schedule vote to add an effective date of January 1st, 2023.
Yeah, that would be fine.
okay. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, I'm going to vote no. So that's a 3-1 vote, and Commissioner Wood was not here. And then we go to item A, which is transmittal of the council salary schedule to the city clerk. We need a motion on that.
What, I just feel like I'm hogging all the motions.
No, go ahead. You
But-
motion, because
but
I'm
what
not,
is- What's the form of the motion that we're gonna need for this?
right.
You're just moving transmittal of the council salary schedule as approved by the majority of the commission
Okay, well, we
to the
just,
city clerk. Is that right, Martin?
That is correct, yes.
With the expiration date, with the effective date, excuse me, Chair Ryan.
Okay. Yeah. You know, what might be helpful here, this is what we used to do. Why don't you hypothetically tell us what the motion would be? And then Commissioner Fisher would say, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, sure. Let me pull up the salary, yeah. Let's see. Would be, the motion would be to transmit the salary schedule approved by the commission at its October 10th meeting, setting the salary of the mayor at $1,400 per month, the salary of the mayor pro tem at $1,200 per month, and the salary for council members at $1,000 per month. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Effective, with an effective date of commencing January 1, 2023.
okay, I move that we,
Oh, yes, yes, that's my motion.
yeah, I'm good, thanks.
All
Yeah, I move that we transmit the salary schedule to the city clerk as stated by the Attorney Derringer, as it's the city attorney, sorry.
Including the effective date.
Yeah, including the effective date.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Fisher, a second by Commissioner Humphrey. All in favor, say aye.
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 And I'll be voting nay. Again, I think the fact that the salaries are in one, at least in one case, doubling the existing salary is just, I don't think it's called for. The comps don't support it. The comps that were given by the Cabot Dow, who was hired to come up with the comps don't support those numbers, so I'll be voting no.
Chair Ryan, if I may, I've had a moment to pull up RCW 35A 13040, which answers the question that you posed, which is any action by the council to raise or to reduce compensation would not become effective until the expiration of the terms under the scenario that you had asked me about a few moments ago.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm impressed you looked that up, so thank you. By the way, I do want to thank staff for being so diligent about getting this done. And despite the fact that we're disagreeing here, I do appreciate anybody that gives time to the city of Mill Creek, working for the betterment of Mill Creek. Sorry I didn't get to meet you all in person. Carmen reminded me I had met her at a couple council meetings when I'd come back to visit the council. So I do appreciate all of you. Appreciate the difference of opinion. It's just a little too rich for my blood. But thank you. So.
Thank you as well.
Of course. I hope you have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
And Paul, it looks like you're in Disneyland. Good for you. The great backdrop.
The company I work for, so it's my background.
Thank you. I want to turn it back to the city manager. Do you have any closing comments?
I don't, I just want to say thanks for everyone for being patient throughout the whole process. Took a little turn, but at least we come to a point where we have some resolution for our council members moving forward. I think they'll be appreciative of all of you and what you've done so far, in addition to our staff who took the time to schedule these as well. So thank you and have a good evening.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
That
you.
adjourns- That adjourns the meeting. Thank you.